Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 22nd of June, 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished today down 0.2% to 6,508 points, with tech and consumer discretionary stocks leading the market lower. Up until lunchtime, the market was actually higher before dropping into negative territory. Given all the craziness in markets in recent months, it was actually a nice breather today. The banks were generally lower, but not by much. The miners were generally higher, but not by much. The energy groups Woodside and Santos were among the best performers. REA Group jumped nearly 4%, and Woolworths was up nearly 2%. Aristocrat Leisure was the worst of the large caps, down 3.4%, while Computershare was off 3%. The best performers of the top 200 were Iress and APA Group. Both rose more than 4%. Story number 2, the Australian Energy Market Operator will lift its suspension of the national electricity market. With the immediate crisis over, the AEMO will allow a market for electricity to commence. That's due to go live at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then the market suspension will be lifted. Energy Minister Chris Bowen said the federal and state governments have worked closely together to keep the lights on. He once again said the situation demonstrated the need for a capacity mechanism whereby generators are paid for capacity rather than what they actually produce. Mr. Bowen added that the government is racing to build renewable energy transmission and storage capacity. Story number 3. One of the Queensland coal miners hit hard and yesterday's state budget came out fighting today. Queensland coal miners will have to pay much higher royalties after the budget, and that sent share prices tumbling, including a more than 10% drop by Stanmore Resources. Chief Executive Marcelo Matos called the tax increases extraordinary. He said Queensland royalty rates are already among the highest in the world, and the increases come at a time when the industry is recovering from its losses of 2020 and 2021. Look, it's easy to dislike the coal companies. They dig up fossil fuels and will eventually be phased out. But they also employ thousands of people, and they literally keep the lights on. Certainly higher royalties will discourage any further investment in the sector. And as last week's blackout threats in 5 states showed, some investment is still needed. I'm not standing up for the coal companies, but there are definitely 2 sides to this story. Story number 4, Australia's biggest health insurer, Medibank, will give its members up to $620 each as it returns an extra $205 million of so-called COVID-19 savings following record profits across the sector. It means total COVID support, which includes returning cash to members, financial hardship packages and deferring premium increases, has reached $1.6 billion from Australia's 5 biggest health funds, according to a report in the Australian newspaper. Net profit across Australia's entire private health insurance sector jumped from $952 million to $2 billion in the year to March 31, according to the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority. And finally, story number 5, inflation in the United Kingdom has hit yet another 4-decade high. There were price increases in pretty much everything last month, from fuel and electricity through to food and beverages. The overall inflation rate is now 9.1%. Wow. The Bank of England is now forecasting price gains will surge above 11% later in the year. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 22nd of June, 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Thursday Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.